we want to distribute a number across consecutive zeros. So the easiest thing is just to take a look at the data here. So we have a 5, a 22. We have numbers going down. I only have about 50 numbers, but you could have hundreds or thousands of numbers. And when we see a zeros after a number, what we want to do is sort of distribute this value across all 4 cells. So hopefully this will help to see what we have here. When we see a 22 or any number followed by zeros, consecutive zeros, that means we want to take the 22 and distribute it across all 4 of these cells. Let's take another example. If we have a 12, let's say this number, followed by another non-zero, we simply put the 12 over here. The same for the 29. It's followed by a 19. That's not a 0. We put the 29 here. But once again, we are getting a value of 19 followed by 2 zeros. So we want to take that 19 and divide it by 3, so that the total here, if we add up these 3 numbers, it goes back and adds up to the number 19. So the way I look at it, step 1 would be how far until the next non-zero. So here I have circled the first number that's followed by a 0, and I want to know, well, there's another 0 and another 0, how far down until I find the next non-zero value. So here this formula shows a 4, meaning we have to go all the way down here to the next non-zero value. So we have to take the 22 and divide it into 4 cells. Here we have 5.5, 4 different times, which kind of corresponds to all 4 values here that need to be split. Another example, the 32, when it looks down to find the next non-zero, it finds it down here at the 15. So we just care that it's 3 values, the original value plus 2 more. And then we split the 32 over here into 3 parts. So these 3 numbers add up to 32. So let's now look at the formula. And I'm going to just click in here and show you what this does. Basically, it really starts off in the middle here, the lookup array. What I'm saying is, and this is a moving formula, notice how the 15 is not locked. So if we go to the cell below, it's now a 16. The 49 is the ending point of your data. So we'll go back into here. We click inside of the formula bar. Let's click this part, and it's looking below, and this part is saying that range is not equal to 0. So when I press the F9 key, what it does is, I'll just drag the formula bar down, it's giving us false and true values all the way down to the very bottom. So I'll just undo that part, and you see how not equal to 0. So we're basically trying to find a true value inside of here. So press F9 again, we see all of these. So now the match is saying, what am I looking for? I'm looking for a value of true, or the first value of true, within all of these values. And at the end, of course, we have our 0 for exact match. So I'm just going to press the escape key to get back to the formula again, the result of the formula. And now we see a 4, meaning that we're looking 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the first non-zero value after the current one that where we're at in row 14. And I shouldn't forget to mention that this is, see the special brackets at the beginning and at the end? This is an array formula, so you have to press Control Shift Enter. If I were just to press Enter, we get an error. So you have to go in here and hold down the Control key, hold down the Shift key, and press the Enter key. So now our second step is really, I would say, tedious, but it's not that difficult. We'll take a look here. We'll go through the whole thing. So we have an if statement, and the first part is our logical test. What we care to identify is B14 is greater than 0, and B15, the value above, is also greater than 0. When this is true, we simply want to say, well, you know what, just give me the original B14 value. So that is true if we scroll down here, and let's look at this one. I click on the formula bar. Both of these values are greater than 0, as we see here. They're both greater than 0, so the AND statement gives us a true. If I were to highlight this and press the F9 key, it's true, and I'll just press undo. So when it's true, we get this value here, simply the current value. We just get a 12. The same thing here. The 29 and the 19 are both greater than 0, so we just get the original value. So let's go back to this part. So now we're jumping ahead to value if false. So I have another condition. I look at if B14 is equal to 0, then I kind of simplified this. Well, if it's equal to 0, that means that I'm already splitting the value above. See how the 22 is getting the 5.5. So I simply say, give me the value above. And then the final condition, if the first if isn't true, if that logical test isn't true, and if this logical test isn't true, I'm simply saying, well, just take B14 divided by D14 for the first time, right? We're taking 22 divided by 4, and we're getting our 5.5. So we'll take a look. That's true here. And let's look at another one. That final, the false part is saying, well, simply divide 32 by 3 gives us 10.67. So one last thing, just a minor thing. How do we confirm all of this? Well, method A, we could just visually look at it and make sure it makes sense, but if you have thousands of rows, that might get a bit tiring. The other way would be to use a formula, a simple formula, just to say this. Get a true or false answer. Does the sum of this range equal the sum of column B over here? Because remember how we want to take the 22 and equally split it across 4 cells, which adds up to 22 in the end. So really, the total of this area should equal the total of that area. So I get it true because it adds up properly. And finally, don't forget that you can get the Excel file for this video by going here and just typing that in, or below the video here, you all have a link to the file. And here are some other ways to contact me.